Hello everyone. Well, today I thought I would just do kind of a rambling video while I sketched and drew. Not quite sure what I'm going to draw yet. Can probably be more like just some doodling. Focusing on the sound of the pencil. Drawing some nice curves. I used to do this a lot in school. Not during class, but while I was thinking, studying, or reading. I oftentimes would make shapes like this in the margins of my books. Usually in the classes I did the best in. That meant I was actually reading, processing the material. I seem to always process things better this way. It's a way to let my mind do some things in the background while I'm working on something with my hands. Never really planning it out. Just kind of letting it happen. I used to do these type of shapes, these long, tubular, space-filling shapes. A lot. I think it was one of the first graphic motifs I worked with. I remember doing this a lot in junior high. That doesn't look so good right there. One time we had a project we had to do a rocket from a kit. It's basically a cardboard tube with a chemical propellant engine that you glue onto the end, and a nose cone and fins and stuff that you glue on other parts of the body. I got a long, very skinny cylindrical one, and I painted it white. And then I put this very same type of motif all over it. It looked pretty cool. And that's the thing I remember most about the project. I think it flew okay. I like how it's kind of an optical illusion after a while. Your eye loses track of what is the positive and the negative. Kind of blends it all together. It also kind of looks like a maze, although it's not. And sometimes I'd make them thick and chunky like this, and other times I'd make them very thin and delicate. And you seem to be able to do a lot more with them like this. And you can branch out instead of doing purely linear motifs like this here. It's very straight lines. You can start to really get some complicated shapes going, as long as you remember where you are. And it develops a very different type of look. A little bit more organic looking. As long as you keep your spacing relatively even, you can do pretty well. I have to remember not to grip my pencil too tightly. Sometimes I do that. wears my hand out faster. So, you have another type where you just make discrete little interlocking shapes. That aren't complicated in and of themselves necessarily. But they all kind of lock together. Create a larger shape. I haven't done this in years, so this is kind of out of practice for me. I used to fill up whole sheets of paper, do big designs, and then fill them in with smaller. Back when I had time on my hands. Back before there was a thing called the internet. But it also allowed me to think. There was a lot more going on in my head. At the time. And I think that's important. You just spend time in your own brain. Let it chew on ideas. Let it wander around. I'd probably do well to get back into this habit. Now I tend to do a lot of my thinking while I'm doing my walking exercises, which is still a nice physical activity. It's probably more beneficial for me. Burning calories and keeping myself in shape. Maybe different activities lead to different types of thought processes. I don't know. So I like to start with the large shapes and move to these smaller. always like spirals for some reason. I'm not sure why I enjoy spirals so much. I enjoy the flowing nature of them, I guess. They are very organic. Messed up a little bit right there. It's okay. It's just a doodle. I also think there's a certain sensuousness to a curved line, which I really like. I think humans respond to that. The shape like this is the shape of an eye or a flame. Many different things it could be. There are very few times in nature where you will find a straight line. There's almost always some sort of bend, curve, flow to it. I think you can juxtapose sharp corners with round shapes. Oops. Got a little off right there. As you can see, they naturally play off of each other. Something like that. So, I believe I've mentioned in some of my other videos that I live on the east coast of the United States. And right now we are dealing with a very large amount of rain. It seems to be generated by the hurricane that's offshore. So there is lots of flooding. Lots of people out getting their cars stalled in the water. Not quite sure what they think they're doing, but especially if you have a small sports car. Not quite sure why people think they can take it out and try to drive it through 3 or 4 feet of water. But they do. And they also play in it, get their inner tubes out and float down the street or their surfboards. Which is another thing I can't understand. Because when it was first starting, the rains had just started to come, and I was heading out of an area of town that is very low lying. And it had only been raining about 5 minutes, but it had been raining very hard. And already the water was gushing up out of the sewers. Grates in the middle of the road, forming like these geysers underneath your car. It was very gross, and it smelled disgusting. And I'm sure it has not gotten any better. It may have diluted, but it's still there. So, as tempting as it may be to play in the water that's floating down your street, you have to realize what's underneath that and what that water is connected to and where that water is coming from. So we've been staying inside. There hasn't been a whole lot of major flooding right up next to our house. We have some water standing in our yard, but nothing that's threatening it. We're supposed to get more rain this afternoon. But there are parts of my town that are flooding that have never flooded before. It's really caught some people by surprise. But I think that's probably how things are going to be going from now on, as the level of the water increases overall, every time you have a little or a lot of rain, parts that were previously untouched are going to be underwater. But we've survived worse. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's very inconvenient, very inexpensive, but it's not catastrophic as far as loss of life or anything like that. So that's good. I'm just drawing all different types of things here. Not really planning anything out. Just kind of taking it as it comes. My shapes are getting very sloppy. So I think it may be about time to wrap this video up. I think my circle motif is getting me in trouble here. They're hard to work with. Spirals, on the other hand, are a lot of fun. They fill up space very well. So anyway, that's what we have here. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of ramble and drawing. Yep, I'm getting sloppy. I need to stop. It does take some amount of concentration even to do things like this. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.